Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced, blockbuster podcast, Coffee with Carib Carter, coming to you exclusively from where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, fill up your favorite coffee mug and join your expert and your guide, Carib Carter Clues.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 already of Coffee with Carib Carter. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me the past 2 weeks if you've been with me. And most of all, once again, thank you for the emails. And in addition, the comments on Carib Carter Facebook. I appreciate that. I mean, that's just a great way for us to communicate back and forth. And you'll notice that if you write something, I respond because I appreciate your participation. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you and helping you feel comfortable with the idea of making the big move offshore, making the big move to the Caribbean, primarily the Central American countries, which obviously by this time, you know, I love. Lived in Honduras. I was telling somebody this morning, I lived in Honduras mainland for a year, then also on Roatan Island for 6 months. Now, you know, living on Roatan Island is kind of like saying for 6 months I died and went to heaven. Then I came back to Earth. But you might want to look there as well. There are, by the way, some great prices on homes on Roatan right now because of what everybody's been put through for the past year. So it's a good time. It's a good time to go shopping. It's a good time to go shopping. You can't beat. That literally is Paradise Island. Trust me, I used to jog and look beside me as I was jogging along the beach and watching the starfish swimming by. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. And so I recommend it to you. Go to visit first and take a look at some places. And today I want to take the same approach we've been taking the past couple of weeks. I've gotten some nice responses from you on it. The features are, first of all, a day in the life, typical day, what it was for me living in Honduras. Sometimes a little humorous, sometimes a little poignant, but just so you'll know what the real world view, you know, which is what I want you to have, because I'm suggesting you make a huge move. So you need to know what's it really like? What's it really like? It's a question I get most. What's it really like? So a day in the life, then the most frequently asked question. Last week we talked healthcare. This week we're going to talk prices. Okay, prices. What is the cost of living? The Mad Max report. What's happening in the U.S. to, you know, that ought to be encouraging you to get out while the getting's good, please. And I'm not going to belabor all that, but I owe it to you to mention I was in politics in Washington for 50 years with these people, 40 to 50 years. If you worked that long with politicians, you'd already be running for the border. Trust me. I think I may have mentioned you on the first show. I think I'm at 5, including Ronald Reagan, who I worked with, who were just good, decent people. The rest were, let me see, what can I say? Politicians. Okay, so that's about sums it all up, folks. So then we're going to do the $1,000 listing Caribbean, where I tell you about some lands. And keep in mind, you know, when I tell you about, you know, some of these places, it's not because I'm going to make a profit on them. It's because I want you to profit from living there. Okay, and it's that good. Let's do this thing, as we say. And that reminds me, Coffee with Carib Carter, and look at my new mug. Can you see that? Look at that. Let's do this thing. I had to. That's from Walmart. Believe it or not, that's from Walmart. I had to order it. But so let's do this thing. All right, join me. Good, as Andy Griffith used to say about Maxwell House. All right, so let's start. A day in the life. Carter, what was it really like? What was it really like for some guy who does not speak Spanish, no habla, to pick up, just all of a sudden I gave everything away, literally, and just moved to Honduras. Moved in essentially to the outback, 30 miles outside of La Ceiba. So what was it really like? Well, let me tell you what it was. I told you about the gecko last week, the invasion of the gecko. But one of the things I would do every day, and I'm sharing this with you because you'll get a feel for it, okay? And you'll know, okay, that's what it's really like. It's not, you know, you get all this stuff from, you know, some resort or something. It's a little different living in a resort. I want you to live in the real country with the real people whom you're going to love. So every day I would get up. I lived in a little tiny town called El Pino. I don't even think it was on the map. Maybe it is. And I get up and walk out to the main highway and take the chicken bus to La Ceiba, which is the biggest city on the beach in Honduras. So about 100,000 people, maybe 200,000. But I go there because I like to, I use the internet at the mall. Just to be honest with you, I would go to the mall and sit in the food court and use the internet and watch the people because I like the people. So I'd watch them and as much as I could interact with them. So the chicken bus, by the way, I only saw one chicken my entire time. Now the chicken bus, if you look at the school buses, your kids ride little yellow school buses, when they get to the point where they no longer run in the US or where some politician passes a regulation to help bus makers by saying, oh, after 3 years, we have to get rid of the school bus and get new, whatever, you know how they are. A little payoff under the table. And so they get rid of the buses. When those buses die, they are resurrected in Central America. That's what the chicken buses are, okay? Sometimes they paint them real pretty, all different colors. Sometimes they're just yellow buses. They say on the side, school district of Durham. Okay, I remember distinctly. That's one of them I used to ride. So I would get on the chicken bus one day, every day. It was about a 30-minute ride. And remember, Honduras in the winter is 90 degrees. So I would get on the chicken bus, and the normal a school bus seats usually, I think, about 60, maybe 70 people. Okay, 2 to 3 abreast. There'd be about 100 to 120 on the chicken bus. Okay, and so I'm riding along. I remember one day distinctly, I'm riding along, and it's like, I would say 100 degrees outside, 100 degrees easily, okay? It's summertime in Honduras. I think I'm going to pass out, okay? I'm thinking to myself, this is very hot here, and I think I'm going to pass out, and I'm looking around, and all the windows are shut on the chicken bus. And I say to not to myself, I said it a little louder than to myself, why in the heck doesn't somebody open a damn window? And this woman in front of me turns around, smiles very graciously, and says in perfect English, perfect Honduran woman, perfect English, because to us, it's not hot. I'm like, what? On 2 counts. 1, what? Because her English was so perfect. And 2, because she said it just wasn't hot to them. And her name was Lena. We became very good friends. She was a wonderful lady, a Griffin, Indian, by the way. That's the black population in Honduras. Most of them live around Trujillo. She happened to have a business not too far from where I lived in El Pino. And she just explained to me, you need to understand, in a tropical country, we are used to the heat, and our blood adjusts to the heat. Our systems adjust to the heat. So what to you is, she said, look around you. You're the only person on the bus who's sweating. And she was right. I was the only person on the bus that was sweating. And by the way, I want to add something here that really is kind of key in a way. It was not odoriferous. The Latinos are very clean people. I mean, my little wife, who was raised in total poverty, told me every day they would bathe in the river, every day and every evening. So it wasn't like there was no problem with that. There was no odor, but it was hot. To me, it was hot, and to them, it simply wasn't. The reason I bring all this up, I think it's significant for you, is because when you move down there, I want you to be able to adapt to the lifestyle, okay? Eventually, you're even going to be able to adapt to the heat. Eventually, I honestly did. I adapted to the heat. I never adapted to the mosquitoes. Little tiny ones, they had a special name for them, but they even had adapted to those. I think their system had you developed an immunity, and had I been there a little longer, I would have developed the same immunity. But you're going to, watch the way they live and incorporate it into your being when you move there, because 1, you're going to enjoy it, and 2, you're going to find that it's not a big adjustment. It's not a big adjustment. I did reach a point where I'd be on the chicken bus with everybody else, and believe it or not, the heat simply didn't bother me. Now, I'll tell you what was funny though, when it got dropped down to 80 degrees or 85, the cold would bother them in the winter. And so I guess everything, what comes around goes around, right? In that case, I'd be the one who came out ahead, but it's a trade-off. And I want you to, as you enjoy a typical day, and when you make your move to Central America, these things are going to be part of your life. You're going to ride the chicken bus. You're going to enjoy the people. And at first, you're going to feel the heat, okay? So just be ready for it. Just be ready for it. All right. So that's it. That's a day in the life. That's a typical day in the life. If you have any questions about it, make sure just write and ask me. One thing, I'm going to give you a straight answer. Okay. It's not like, geez, I gotta sell them this $300,000 condos or $1 million condos. So I better tell them no, I don't have to do that. What I have to do is help you be prepared for the move. And that's exactly what I want to do. Okay. That's the reason for a typical day. So now you know. And that brings me to the frequently asked question. The frequently asked question this week. It's a very good question. Somebody sent it in to me. As a matter of fact, several of you did, and said, we always hear it's so much cheaper to live there. And I think I've told you that if you can bring in 1,000, 1,500, I'm going to say 1,250 to 1,500 a month, you're going to live very well. You're going to live very well, because don't forget the annual income in most of these countries is 2,500 to 4,000 a year. And I remember one time the ambassador, wonderful man from Honduras. I was there at the embassy one day in the U.S. in Washington, and I said, how come I can get this bottle of perfume that up here in the U.S. cost a fortune? And there, this next to nothing, he said, it's called the free market system. If people only make 2,500 to 3,000, 4,000 a year, the prices have to reflect that. Okay. And so when I tell you you can live on this, because you really can, as a matter of fact, you can live very well on 1,250 to 1,500 a year. Why is that? Okay. Let's look at the prices. And I shop here every day. My wife turns to me and says, "Work." The prices go up every time. Cada base I go to the store, the prices are up, and they are, and they're going to continue up, folks. Inflation right now is really 9%, 9 to 12, according to Money Map Press. That's the real inflation figure. Don't believe what they tell you. I think I told you they did a little trick with it back in the the Clinton years. Little trick. I was there. I know what they did. So when the head of the Fed comes out and says we might be looking at an increase in inflation, which he did yesterday, a day before rather. Yeah, yeah. You're definitely looking at an increase. But at any rate, it's not going to affect you if you've already made your move, because let's look at chicken, pound of chicken. I'm going to give you Honduras because that's what I know. Okay, that's what I know. But it's the same whether Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, wherever you are down there. Up here, you're looking at $3 to $4 a pound. Down there, $1 a pound. $1 a pound. Okay, $1 a pound at the supermarket. If you buy it, roadside stand, little less. They got chickens everywhere. Not bad. Good fresh chicken and no chemicals. These are free range chickens, okay? And delicious. I know I ate a lot of it. Quart of milk up here, $1. Down there, half of that. Eggs up here, when we shop now, we're looking at eggs, $3 a dozen, $1 a dozen, $1 a third, $1 a dozen. Bananas, at 48 cents a pound. That's 13 a pound down there. 13 a pound. You're crazy if you buy them, because you can go pick them off the tree in your backyard. Okay, so the housing. That's where you're going to see the biggest difference. A 2-bedroom home in a Central American country, 2-bedroom home, fully furnished, is going to cost you about $500. Okay, $500, 2-bedroom home, fully furnished. All right, $500. And for the same up here, comparable home, you're going to be paying a comparable home. Okay, from what I've seen, the ones I saw down there, $500 a month. Up here, you may be paying 15 easily, maybe more depending upon, you live somewhere like New York, 10,000. I wish I were making that up. I'm not, I'm not. But down there, $500 a month, you get a very nice home, fully furnished. Okay, 2-bedroom, so there's room for you and your family. You can get a smaller home, a 1-bedroom, the $250 to $300. Okay, and these are some very, very, very nice areas. Very nice areas. Transportation, a taxi, anywhere you want to go. Until the city, the big city, $5. $5. So the half-hour trip from Alpino, if I decide to take a taxi occasion in La Ceiba, 20 miles or so, $5. About that. So very, very much cheaper. Very, very much cheaper. Personal care. I hope that you all watched, and if you haven't, please do. Patrick Hebert's report this past week is those of you who go to the Offshore Club regularly, where Coffee with Carib Carter is posted. You know that on, I think it's Wednesdays or Thursdays. I always get these days mixed up. You think as president of the club, I know what day of the week it is, right? But on Wednesday or Thursday, Patrick has his the community man. Patrick's just a super guy, family man, works in the community. But he did a piece on the cost of healthcare in Nicaragua, which blew me away. It blew me away. And I want to make sure, if you haven't gone to the Offshore Club, offshore.club to watch it, please make sure you do, where he talks about having a kidney stones, horrible pain, and having to go to the clinic out half a day or more in there, getting treated by top doctors, the MRI, the works. Doctor then personally walked him over to get his prescription filled. The cost was $58. Okay. So we went over this some last week, so I'm not going to go into that. But in Honduras, a doctor's visit, $30. And they're good doctors. A lot of them are U.S. educated, and they've come back home. It's their country. It's their people. Okay. Entertainment, you go out. I would eat dinner every night. Carne, beef, frioles, cheese, French fries, the works. $5. Very pleasant atmosphere. That was it. So you and your family can go out to eat. And if you spend, now I'm not saying if you go to the mall and go to they do have, like Olive Garden, some of these places down there. If you go to those, you're going to pay more. But if you go local, the prices are very low. Okay. Prices are very low, very reasonable. Family of 4 goes out to eat. You're not going to bust the budget. 20, 25, I don't know what. So that's it. That's the cost of living. The great article I read by a mother in El Salvador, family of 4, and she said we spend on food maybe $200 a month. $200 a month. My wife and I go to Walmart, buy next to nothing, and spend $200 a week. It's crazy, and it's going up. It is going up through the ceiling. Okay, it's going through the ceiling. So there you have it. The cost of living. The cost of living is low, and yet it's good. It's good. I always tell people, I want you to think about this. Put it in perspective for a moment, if you will. Okay. When you move to a country like Honduras, when you move offshore like this, you are the 1%. Okay. You are the 1%. Am I saying you're going to live like Bill Gates? But no, but you're going to live pretty good. You are the 1%. And you're going to live very, very well. And if you bring in $2,000 a month, let's say, you get entertainment, no problem. Good food, good living, beautiful home. If you do like me and buy it outright, then you don't even have the house payment. A lot of disposable income. You'll be the 1%. And that's a pretty nice life. So there you have it. Cost of living. That's it. That it is just, you can do that. You can do it. You can do that thing. Okay. So I urge you to do it. check it out. Google it. It's a lot of places you can look this stuff up, by the way. Obviously, I love for you to come to Offshore Club, but we're not the only game in town. International Living, Nomad Capitalist. And I tell you all these because I'm not here to get you to be a Carter Clues follower. That's not going to do you any good. With that and $2.75, what it is, you can get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Not even to be, I would like you to be a member of the Offshore Club, offshore.club, but also International Living. All of these, they're great resources for you. They're great resources for you. So avail yourself of all of them because it'll confirm what I'm telling you, and you may maybe even get a different perspective on it. But it's right there. Cost of living. Cost of living is great. Go for it, even on the island, even on Roatan Island. It was a great cost of living. The Mad Max report. All right. I'm not going to go on. I am not going to belabor this because I don't like to. I do a podcast called Washington Expose. And if you really want to get the lowdown on what's being done to you, that's what to go to. You're not going to get it here. I'm going to give you a hint at it. Because you need to know. But if you really want to get the full lowdown, Bill Wilson, Larry Ward, I'm on with them. These guys have been in politics a long time. They're very sharp, and they know what politicians do. They know what they're up to. They know what they're going to continue doing. So here I'm not going to belabor, but the Mad Max report. You want to know where we're heading? Okay, watch the movie Mad Max. That's why I call it the Mad Max report. I'm not going to belabor, but let me put in perspective why I'm telling you this. I want you to know that what the politicians are doing to you, have done to you for the last year. Let me put it this way, folks. The term lockdown has never in the history been used as anything but a prison term until the politicians used it on you last year in this country. Yeah, it's true. So that's why I want you to know. I want you to know because to be forewarned is to be forearmed, and to be forearmed may help you to say, I don't have to live like this, because you don't. Okay. Let me give you an example. Mad Max report. What are the politicians up to now? Let me call it politician watch. Well, they passed their bill, their COVID relief bill. Their COVID relief bill. $1.9 trillion. Your tax dollars. 1.9 trillion. And they did it for you. We want to help you. Remember what Ronald Reagan said? The most frightening words in the world are, I'm from the government. I'm here to help you. Well, they're helping you again. So they 1.9 trillion of your tax dollars, because they want to help you, because it was so awful what COVID did to you. No, they're the ones that shut down everything, destroyed 30 million jobs, 20,000 restaurants. It goes on. Done. Small businesses destroyed, will never come back. They're never coming back. They did it. So now they said, but we're going to pass a bill. We're going to help you because we're so good. We're so good people. So I won't belabor this, but you need to know, of that $1.9 trillion, 96% went to someone other than you. 4% went in direct aid to the American people, to you. 4%. That little tiny thing that they lied to you and said there was going to be 2,000. It's not going to be 2,000. It's going to be 4%. Okay. Had they divided it up the full amount, everybody would have got a check for $6,000, which would really help a lot of people now, since they've been cast out of work by the politicians, locking them down. But no, you may get 17, but not everybody's even going to get that. You'd be lucky if you get $1,000. So where did the other 96% go? Where would you, if you were a politician, what would you have done with the other 96% of 1.9 trillion tax dollars? And I tell you this because this is how they treat you, and this is why you should treat them to you leaving. Okay? 300 million of it is going to aid to illegal aliens. What? Yeah, 300 million. In other words, they're taking your tax dollars and you're paying to move to Central America out of your pocket. Your pocket. They're paying out of your pocket to the illegal aliens who are invading America. Excuse me? Yeah, 300 million. $10,000 for every student who needs student loan relief. Did you run up that bill? Did you run up that? I don't think so. Are they sending you a check to pay off any debts you have? I don't think so. 20 billion to the United States Post Office. Folks, there have been 3 studies done now saying that the post office over the past 15 years saying there is nothing. The profit model, or in this case, the loss model for the post office assures there is no way to redeem it. No way to redeem it. So your politicians just took 20 billion of your tax dollars and handed it to the post office. There is such a thing as letting a business that can't support itself close. I think it happened with buggy whips and candle makers. It's a thought. 30 billion to the department. I'm not going to go on with this. I have a list. I'm going to stop right here. $30 billion. Well, you're getting maybe 1,700. 30 billion to the Department of Education. The Department of Education has never educated a kid in its life. There are no classes held at the Department of Education. For the past year, the schools in this country have been shut down. Part of you being locked down. If everything was shut down, wouldn't you think that the bureaucrats at the Department of Education would get a pay cut instead of a pay raise? Not if you're a politician, you wouldn't think that. It's not going to stop. All the more reason, get out now before they take every penny you have, okay? That's madness. That's Mad Max. That's Mad Max. All right. Enough bad news. Enough bad news. I'm sorry I went on so long on that. But the only reason is because I really want you to understand they're not going to stop. They get worse all the time. You know, when I first went there in 1972, they were bad. A million times worse now. Keep in mind, when a politician gets 6 years in Washington, they get $1 million retirement. Say what? Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Do you get that if you work somewhere 6 years? I don't think so. Whatever. Okay, so go somewhere where you can live like you did get a $6 million retirement, and that's the Caribbean. These countries I tell you about. And just to prove my point, let's talk about the $1,000 listing Caribbean. As all of you know, I took that from Ryan Serhant's TV show, $1 Million Listing New York. If any of you get a chance to read his book, Big Money Energy, it's well worth reading. It'll help you get the spunk and the spirit to make the move to do this thing. All right. Let's talk about $1,000 listing. You can buy a home in Central America cheaper than you're renting now. Any proof of that? Okay, let's look at, last week I told you about Grand Pacifica. It's the most beautiful resort in Nicaragua, residential resort community. You live there. And one of the most beautiful in all of Central America, all of the Caribbean. And I told you can get a home there, under 200,000. It would cost you, 500 to 1,000 to $1 million here. And then if any of you watched Roving with Rachel this past week on the Offshore Club, if you didn't, make sure to watch it. $90,000 for a beach home in Belize on Ambergris Key, the one that Madonna sang the song Island Beautiful, Isla Bonita. Yeah, can't beat that. You can't beat that. So, but today, let's talk about, I like to bring you sometimes those who are in residential resort communities because I can help you. I can help you get a great deal on those. Watch Mike Cobb every Friday on his open mic, and he owns a lot of these places. He can give you a good deal. Say, hey, Mike, I love what you said. How about a good deal? The guy's a businessman, and he's a good guy. But I like to also do one-offs. So let me tell you about one. A one-off, as a matter of fact, it's not one home, it's 3 homes and a commercial space for sale in, now I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to try anyway. Panacel, Guatemala. Okay, Google it. Let me spell it for you, since I butchered how to say it. Panajachel. Panajachel. Panacel. My wife tells me that's how to pronounce it. Nicaragua. 3 homes plus commercial space. And it is on Lake, I get this wrong too, Atitlan, one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. As a matter of fact, Aldous Huxley described Lake Atitlan as the most beautiful lake in the world. There you go, that word for word. Aldous Huxley did. Yeah. So it's breathtaking. Google it and then do images, okay? Because then you're going to go, oh, mackerel, I'd love to live there. The total cost, $195,000. That's 3. That's 3 homes plus commercial space, okay? 3 homes, so you can rent out and have the one to live in, all of which are very, very pretty, in a gorgeous little community, about 11,000 people. It's always been a tourist community. The backpackers discovered it first, which very often happens in these Central American countries, and now the tourists have discovered it, because it is the good life, as we say at the Offshore Club, the good life at a great price. This personifies it. I checked a 2-bedroom apartment on the water, 2-bedroom, and here you're getting 3 homes. 1 2-bedroom apartment on the water in Baltimore is $769,000. Now, if you're like me right now, you're saying, who in God's name would want to live in Baltimore? Well, as someone who grew up there, I can answer you, I don't know. None of the people I grew up with. It was a murder a day at least. You don't have a murder. If you have a murder a year, if that, probably, and Panhasel, that would probably be a lot shocking. And that's 3 homes for $190. Okay, remember, we're calling this section $1,000 listing Caribbean. It's a pretty good price. Okay, I checked Columbia, Maryland. I used to live in Columbia, Maryland. They have some lakes there around Thunder Hill area. They have one on Thunder Hill Road, not too far from the lake, not on the lake like these 3 for $190, but in Columbia, Maryland, not too far from the lake, $430,000. $430,000. So you see what I'm saying here? The prices are fantastic. The life is good. It's pleasant. The cost of living we just went over is minuscule. So if you buy one of these homes for literally next to nothing, and then you live there for next to nothing, you're live, as I said, the good life at a great price. The So that's my not sales pitch. If you go on, and by the way, I always make sure to tell you this. I found that on Vivian.com. I don't own any interest in Vivian. I bought a home through Vivian, 10, 11, 12 years ago now in Honduras. Vivian, Viviun.com. Look this one up. You put a little up in the corner that says name of the country, type in Guatemala, and then scroll down, and you'll find this one. No, I don't get a thing off that. I honestly, God, I do not. I don't know these people who own it. They point out that they, as they say, good restaurants, nightlife, safe space to walk, run, ride bikes. You can see the 2 major volcano mountains in the distance. It's 80 minutes from the airport, 80 minutes from the Pacific Ocean. They said they're selling because they need to, the wife, for family reasons, needs to move back to New Zealand. So that's if we had music, we'd roll the music now and say, that is for today, the Carib Carter's $1,000 listing Caribbean. $1,000 listing Caribbean. And that brings us to our friends and family feature. This is where I like to interview people or do a video this week I want to feature, if you missed it, Elisa Esquivel does a weekly video. She has her vlog, which is, I know hers is on Tuesdays. Okay, mine's on Monday. Alyssa's is on Tuesday, and she is great. She sparkles. Any of you who saw her in the past know that she's delightful, and she is the expat mom. 4 little kids. And she is delightful, and she tells you really what it's like for those of you who are young and have children, what it's like to live in her case, Belize, in Central America, in the Caribbean. And this week I want to roll. She did a here I go shopping video in her golf cart, which really amused me because I happen to own a place in a residential resort community in West Virginia where we all ride around in golf carts. And there she was in her golf cart with everybody else going by in their golf carts, shopping at the fruit stand and at the fish market. Fish market was actually the pier where they just brought them in out of the water. So I want you to watch this now. I think it's 7-8 minutes. She's delightful. You're going to fall in love with her and watch her every week. And you're going to find out, talk about delicious fresh fruit for a fraction of the price you're paying now. Let's roll it, Mr. Super Producer Brian.
Hey everyone, Alyssa, the expat mom here. So we've been going through a series of talking about some of those questions that people ask when they get ready to move as a family. And I thought, one of the things that I think people ask a lot of times that they've asked us is, what about the food? Are there going to be things that I like to eat? Am I going to be able to find some of the dietary restrictions that I have? Am I going to be able to find organic goods? And I thought, instead of just telling you about it, why don't I take you on a journey and show you exactly what it is that I get when I do my groceries and some of the options that we have here on the island. So, hope you enjoy the ride. So just pulled up to my favorite fruit and veggie stand, and that is one of the beautiful things about living in so many of these Central American countries and in the Caribbean countries is that, fresh fruits and vegetables are a common staple, and oftentimes you can get products that we can get in the States in the same way or in North America in the same way. And yet the pesticides, the ways that they use to be able to clean their products is totally different, because oftentimes the cost of some of these pesticides is so astronomical that it's not even worth it for the farmers to use it. And especially for a lot of the Central American and Caribbean countries, you're getting products from small farms, and so they're growing very fresh produce that it's coming to you same day. In some cases, you can even go and get it yourself from the farms. You can pick out what you want, and the products oftentimes are beautiful. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna take a look in just a second. But I will say, last week I made a stir fry for my family, and I got zucchini and carrots and onions, and it was all fresh, all straight from the farms here. The only thing my kids really ever crave in food is berries, and we even started getting those. So, my daughter was joking a couple months ago about wanting to be able to go to the States so she could go and get some raspberries. They are after their mother, let me tell you, because I am a berryaholic. But we can even get berries. We can get fresh berries that are in season and that are fabulous looking. So we'll take a look in just a second, and I'll show you what we can find. So you can see all these great fresh fruits and vegetables. So many of them packaged locally here. Got great corn, got some okra up here, some celery, jalapenos, radishes. And look at the next one. This is actually fresh kale from here that's all organic. It's a local farm. We've got green beans, we've got lettuce, all great products. And this last one here, my daughter's favorite, the berries. You can see them up there lined up. So beautiful, just came in. They've even got local Brussels sprouts and baby potatoes. I mean, really, can you get fresher ingredients like that? We also have imported apples, as you can see over here in the back. Our kids love apples, so they're always on our staple list. So we also are gonna have these beautiful peppers here that you'll see that are what we put in something here locally called escabeche. We'll make that again on another episode another time. But you can also see beautiful local peppers here and eggplants. I mean, really, eggplants. Even local butternut squash, which let me tell you, I make a mean butternut squash soup in the winter. But you've also got cabbages, and you've got zucchinis and squash there, cucumbers, cantaloupes even, and then these local squash we have here called chocho, which are similar in taste to yellow squash. And then you've got some little pumpkins here and other squashes, or acorn squash even that we've got here locally. Just beautiful, beautiful produce. And of course down there you've got papayas. We're in the Caribbean, tropical, right? You gotta have those. And watermelons. So just stocked up on some of my fruits and veggies for our family for the week. And even with our strawberries, which are an imported object, which are more expensive, even with those, we're still under 100 Belize, so under $50 for our whole family. And that's 4 kids and my husband and I. And I swear our sons eat like they're teenagers. So let me tell you, it's not like it's gonna be crazy expensive, even with the apples. And that's with us buying apples that are imported, of course. All those, and you still are under $50 for all of our fruits and vegetables for our family for the week. You just can't beat that. So I thought I'd come out to the ocean to be able to share the last little bit with you guys. I don't know if you can, well, you can't really see it there behind me, but look at those beautiful Caribbean waters. And the beauty of this is that, you know, during the mornings, oftentimes fishermen will put their catch, they're right up here, they pull up with their boats, they get their catch off, they cut it all up, they get it prepared, and you can buy straight from the fishermen. So here we have this fresh caught fish, fresh caught lobster, fresh caught conch that we can go and buy. Now, my husband's a fisherman, so we get a lot of our own stuff. But if we don't, I can always go and get it right here. And that's one of the products, you know, that we see in the States or in North America in general, right? When you get a fish or you get a product, it's been frozen half the time, it's gotten thawed, unthawed, you know, all the process. And sometimes you get fresh, and that's great. And you can get stuff that's not been farmed, which is beautiful. But, you know, the fact that we have all this fresh produce, fresh fish, fresh vegetables, fresh meats, you know, same thing with our meats. There's several local butcheries on the mainland that we can go and get our products from that come straight here to the island where we live. And the same thing is true in a lot of other Central American countries and in the Caribbean in general, is that you're gonna have very short times between when you get the product out of the ocean or when you get the product when it's been butchered, when you get those items, it's going to be a really short time until you actually get them on your plate. And you know, you think about farm to table, people pay big money for farm to table products in the States, and it's essentially our everyday lives. It's our normal shopping list. Obviously, there are things that my kids eat, like Cheerios. Okay, I can still go to the grocery store and I can buy those also. But the fact that we can get these local and quick and fresh products that our family has come to love and enjoy, you know, I look at every time I go out to the States, it's hundreds of dollars we end up spending in groceries simply to try and get those basic products that are so fresh here. And so really understanding, you know, to understand that your diet is not necessarily going to be a lot different. There are things that are going to be different. For instance, like I can also go to the local tortilla factory and I can buy fresh corn tortillas. I can buy masa and I can make empanadas, or I can make other local dishes that are so good. That I've been taught over the years by many of our local Belizean friends. And that is one of the beautiful things. I'm going to talk about community in another episode, but that really is one of the most beautiful things about living in Central America and the Caribbean, is it's such a warm climate, and people are welcoming, they're willing to show you how to do things, they're willing to show you their family secrets. You know, I think about that with a lot of other cultures, and that is one of my favorite things from growing up. Food is near and dear to my heart. I grew up in a family that on Thanksgiving, on the big holidays, all the women were in the kitchen. We all did things together. We all were baking and cooking together for days. And I learned some of my family favorite recipes from my grandmother and from my mother and from those women in our family that really set that generational tone for us. And so I just love that that's the same products that I can make here, but also the thing that I can instill in my own kids and the beauty of our community. So hope you guys enjoyed our little shopping trip today, and we'll see you next week on the Expat Mom. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
All right, welcome back. I told you she was delightful. She is one of the nicest people you're ever going to meet in your life. And by the way, if you decide to buy in Belize, she'll be your friend and neighbor, okay? And you can't beat that. You can't beat that. So let's get to let's do this thing. The final segment, let's do this thing. This is where I just like to give you some encouragement in doing it, okay? You know, it's not, look, I know it's not easy when some guy comes to you and don't know me from Adam, and I'm suddenly saying to you, you really need to move offshore. It's time to make the move. But I really want you to do it. I sent out an email this week, some of you got it, where I said, I don't consider you expats. I consider you pioneers, okay? Just like those who moved west back in the mid-1800s, founded the new country west of the Missouri River. That's what you're doing. And trust me when I tell you, millions are going to follow you, okay? Which is, as I said in the letters, all the more reason to get in now and get the best price and buy up some other land while you're at it, because then you can sell it to them. So what I want to do, one of my favorite movies, I watched it last night. I watch it whenever I need some encouragement to, you know, to fight back against doubt, to fight back against doubts and fears, because we all have them, don't we? We all have doubts and fears occasionally. And whenever I get a little, you know, feel a little trepidation, I watch, and I'd recommend, there's a movie called Rocky Balboa, okay? It's the last of the Rocky movies. All of us saw the first one in 1976, and the last one, Rocky's older. And he wants to get back in the ring. His wife has died. He wants to get back in the ring. And the son is telling him, you're too old. You can't do it. You can't make it. All this discouragement. None of us need discouragement in life, folks. That's why you're never going to hear me discourage you. I'm going to encourage you. And I'm going to help you find people to encourage you even more when you get to your new home south of the border. But one of my favorite sections of that movie, and those of you who know the movie right now, you're saying, I know what you're going to say, Carter. I know the section you're going to say. It's where the son is, you know, Namby-mouthing, as I call it. You shouldn't do this. You're going to make a fool of yourself of me. And whine. Let me whine a little bit. And finally, Rocky says to him, he says, you know, I need to tell you something. I'm going to roll this clip for you in just a minute. But I want to read you, because I have this on my wall, okay? When he tells him, son, when I start to read it, and say, man, it's a great scene where he's trying to help his son understand you only get in life what you fight for. And he says, I'm going to tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. It will beat you to your knees, and it'll keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, nobody is going to hit as hard as life. You, me, nobody is going to hit as hard as life. Maybe some of you have been hit. Maybe you haven't been hit, but I don't want you to get hit. That's why I'm asking you to get off, you know, move, make your move now. You, me, or nobody's going to hit as hard as life, but it ain't how hard. It ain't about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. You're a winner. You're going to be more of a winner. When you make your move offshore, you're going to be, in my opinion, you'll be a pioneer, and you're going to be the ultimate winner. Okay? I want to share that with you. And now, super producer, if you roll that video, it's less than 2 minutes, and I'll be back to say goodbye. Okay? Thank you.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always gonna love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son, you're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life. Don't forget to visit your mother.
Wow. Wow. If you're like me right now, you're saying, hey, man, I needed that. I needed that. Thank you. Okay. And I'm so glad I got to share it with you. I'm so glad you watched it, and share it with other people, especially anybody who's having a rough time. I have some family having a rough time right now. I'm going to share it with them. So I'm glad I got to share it with you. Inculcate it. Make it part of you. And let it help you make that wonderful, wonderful decision to move offshore, to move to the sun, the sand, the surf, the good life at a great price, and the life that I think you deserve to live. Okay, you deserve to live in you. So as I always close, let me urge you, let me encourage you, let me shout it from the rooftops. Let's do this thing.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us at the Offshore Club. For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Carib Carter, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.